I'm talking over there.
What do you mean talk into the mic? Talk into this mic?
Yeah, you were looking to the wall and we couldn't hear you
I
all
was
night.
looking at people.
Just telling you to stop that.
Four walls in the room.
Maybe get right behind it. I don't know if that would help or not.
But I'll. So anyhow, as I was saying, what was I saying? Oh, so next week is the last in this series. And then I'm going to take a break in April. I talked that over with Kathy and Mackie, and we thought what came to the three of us in our creative endeavors was everyone needs a break. To let all of this and whatever settle and cook, cook. And so I'm looking at a couple of books for May as a book study. Have any of you heard of the 5 invitations? No, I might do that. And then there's a couple of books I have on being engaged, fully engaged. I might do that. And then this morning I picked up Joe Dispenza's, I think this is his first book. It's something about getting over yourself.
Breaking the habit of being.
Breaking
yourself.
the habit of being yourself. Do you have that book?
Yeah, we studied it several years ago here.
Several years
Wonderful.
ago here. Did
Several
you
years
enjoy
ago.
it?
Immensely.
Okay, it's a thick tome. But, he's so current with metaphysics and integrating spiritual ideas with science that I thought it might be worth it.
What's his name again? please?
Joe Dispenza, Dispenza. Dispenza. Okay, so that's that. Anyone have any opinions? Any books that you would love to study other than the ones I've mentioned?
I like the sound of that one, though.
Which one?
The last one. Breaking the habit.
Breaking the habit of being yourself.
I mean, that
And
would be
the byline is and create a new self. I don't think it's create because we already have a new self,
Right, yeah.
removing the layers that cover it. Okay, so here we go. Anything come up around what we went over last week?
He's up there. And Sharon and.
Oh, let me get rid of that. Got it.
The bathroom.
Okay. Is there anything you want me to review? I think this is where, at least my notes say this is where we ended last week. And so, where's Sheldon? Oh, there you are. Can you read this from where you are, Sheldon?
Yeah.
The perfect man idea in God's mind is known under various names in the many religious systems. The Krishna of Hinduism is the same as the Messiah of the Hebrews. This perfect idea of God-man is your true self. The second birth is that in which we put on the Christ.
Yes. So pause for a moment. What would it look like if you put on the Christ in your relationships?
Unconditional love.
Peaceful.
Peaceful. Yes. This morning, this is happening every morning, so you might include me in your prayers. Cleopatra does not like the car anymore.
Oh, no.
And so when mommy was trying to get her together to get in the car to come to work, she runs. And she is fast as the wind. And so by the time I get her in the car, I have exhausted all my brilliant ideas. So what would it look like if I were putting on the Christ with Cleopatra?
I think every church should have a dog. Because, you know, dog is God spelled backwards.
Yeah. You know, I should keep that in mind when I'm trying to get her in the car. Yeah,
Maybe you need a bungee cord.
a bunch, yeah. Well,
Bribery.
I mean, I try the bribery trick with her favorite treat. And she knows what I'm up to. This dog is very smart. But anyway, let's get back to you. So think about it. I mean, you might think about, does anyone have kind of a troubling or challenging relationship in their life? Yeah, so think about that one. If you were to put on the Christ in that relationship, what would it look like?
Love,
Love,
forgiving,
forgiving,
Patience.
patience,
compassion.
compassion.
More inclusivity,
Like how?
just being more accepting of, you know, the person and who they are.
Yeah. Acceptance is a big deal. Yeah. I've come to the conclusion, see if you agree with this, that until I accept the person, because we're talking about relationships right now, the person, just the way they are, I don't need them to change. I don't need to change them. I don't need to do something to make them change and be the way I want them to be. I just accept them the way they are. Until I can do that, I have no clue about what my next right step is. I have no clue what to do next or what God would have me do. Does that make sense to you guys? So acceptance is a big deal. So what would it look like if you put on the Christ in your finances? Should I bring coffee in for everyone? Think about it. What would it look like? How would you be, or what would your mind be like if you were to put on the Christ in your finances?
Abundantly generous.
Say it again.
Abundantly generous.
Abundantly generous. Yes. Anything else?
Lack of fear.
Lack of fear, no fear. Don't worry about a big bill that comes in. Don't worry the car is going to break down. Don't worry the HOA is going to go up. Don't worry taxes are going to go up. No worries, right?
You'd be in the moment.
In the moment.
I think generosity.
Generosity for sure. Yeah. A generous mindset, you know? Okay, what would it look like if you put on the Christ in your health?
You take good care of yourself.
You take good care of yourself. Yes. How would you do that?
Nutrition, exercise, rest.
Rest, exercise, eat right. Brush your teeth before you go to bed. Okay, so you get the picture, right? In a very practical way. What would it look like if you put on the Christ in your creative expression?
Recognizing your true identity.
Yes, and what would Kathy, what would you do?
I don't know, challenge with health or having something with health. I always feel like it's just my space to get back into the truth of my true identity and to be with how that is meant to be expressed and stated.
And how do you express your creative energy?
It can be summed up in one word,
What?
guidance.
Guidance, for sure.
That's
And-
what you're looking for.
Yeah. Got, like the guidance that comes from within. Like I like to just sit back and just try to look for the guidance in that space of meditation, or just come back and just look at the truth rather than being in the what it is exhibiting in my life.
Right, got it, got it. Interesting perspective, good. And if you were, I would love for all of you to consider this. So you're all creative, right? Is there anyone who doubts that they are infinitely creative? Because we're always creating. Our thoughts are always generating, right? Which means we're always creating something. We may not like the taste of it, but nevertheless, this is always creating something, a thought, or a response, or a reaction. What I would invite you to look at now is, if you could get outside of that perspective for a moment and know that you are infinitely creative, and anything that guidance moves you to do, you are equipped to do. And so, given that, what might be a next step for you in creative expression? For example, Betty started writing a blog. Betty, back there. Betty, can you get in the circle somewhere?
I just know there must be one for.
She started a blog. How many months ago now?
On my 85th birthday in July. And those stories I've been collecting for my whole life. And I would share them at times verbally, and people say, you should write a book, you should write a book. And I had all kinds of excuses. I said, oh, it's too much work, it costs a lot of money, I'm not going to be all the time about books and so forth. And then I happened to meet somebody who was doing a blog and told me that it doesn't cost you any money. And you've got the stories already, you know. And there, and I have to tell you, when I was not writing the book, I could hear something saying, look, I've given you all these nice stories, now do something with them. They're here for a reason.
Oh, and so you weren't listening to guidance?
Well, I was listening saying, no, I'm not here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What a perfect example of, yeah. So if it's not coming to you today, my challenge for you is listen. I mean, be open and receptive to what would the God in me like me to express or do creatively right now where I am in my life. For me, here's an example. For Cindy has both of my books, and we were both sharing, because Cindy wrote a book too. We were both sharing how demanding it is and how long it took to put it all together and get it done, which is the power of the month, strength. It takes a lot of strength to stay consistent, but that's the spiritual expression of strength. We are consistent and persistent and pursuing what matters. So my current challenge is I have found myself saying, oh, I'm not techie. Oh, I'm not techie. I don't know why I say that. Do you say stuff like that? Oh, I'm not. That's not the truth. And so my challenge to myself is to start creating more videos to put online and to put on our website, and to do more with Instagram, do more with the social media. And you know, that's a challenge for me because it doesn't come easy. So it means I have to learn and stick with it, right? And so my challenge to you is exactly that. What is it that you're feeling trying to emerge in and through you right now, creatively speaking? Anyone want to comment before I move on?
I'd just like to add to my story.
Yeah.
I feel that there was a reason, these stories are coincidences, my God stories. But I felt that there was a reason why people should be hearing them, and I think a lot of people experience these things too, and I wanted people to know that this is something real. But I felt that there was a reason I should get them out there. And I'm getting responses now like this one. I brought it along to show to somebody else. I did this story about technology and about this, my computer was a problem. Some of you read it. And I was getting angry at it, and I finally calmed down and said, okay, God, what do I do now? I got the answer, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. Anyway, this person wrote back and said, thank you. I can relate to the tech example and the overall theme of frustration. I will remember your wise words to remain open and frustrated so that the solution has room to be received. Peace and blessings.
And there's always a solution, isn't there?
Mhm.
Do you believe that? That there's always a divine solution, no matter what the challenge? Yeah.
The thing is that it helps somebody, and I have people in New Zealand and Ireland, and I don't know how they got there.
So, so you never know what might happen if you were to be bold, just a shade bolder about your creativity. After listening to guidance, right? So guidance is important. Anything else on this one, putting on the Christ? Okay, so I think the point here that I'm trying to make is putting on the Christ is all well and good as an idea that's inspiring, because we have to have the Christ before we can put it on, right? I can't put on a dress I don't have in my closet. Hello. Put on, but am I going to go to my closet and say, okay, dress, come out and get on me? No, I go into my closet and say, I want the red dress today. Same is true with putting on the Christ. Today, I'm putting on the Christ in that conversation with the person I'm not getting along with too well. I'm putting on the Christ today as I pay my bills. We make it practical and specific. Any comments or questions there? Okay, good. Imelda Shanklin. Doug, would you read this one for us?
You are a soul that has forgotten its divine identity, a soul now struggling to remember. In the midst of time and in the confusion of experiences that you are the living Son of the living God. Spiritually, you are an idea in the mind of God. That idea must be given expression in you.
So if I'm giving expression to the idea of God in me, am I going to do something stupid? I mean, God knows I have, but. Am I? No, no.
When you become aware of what you're doing, you choose not to do that.
Exactly. So the idea of God in me is very individualized. I mean, if we read other comments in Fillmore's books, it would be the statement something like this: you are an idealized, individualized expression of God, of the one mind. The one mind chose on your birthday to express as you, or on your conception day to express as you. Yeah. So we have to be good to ourselves. Any comments or questions? You know, pretty soon I'm going to get up and do a tap dance.
Is that a promise?
I mean, is this not working for you?
I think we're taking it all in.
Okay, good, good, good. I mean, I hope it's challenging you to go deeper. That's what. Yeah, Darlene?
I was going to say for me, it's been difficult at times for those people who know the situation I'm in, but my husband's in hospice right now. Because of it, I lose my patience and I lose my focus.
Yeah.
And I've had to write on my arm every day before I go in, what would Jesus do?
Oh, great,
Just
great,
as a reminder, because I do get to that point,
great.
you know.
That's a perfect example of making it practical. Yeah.
I find it wonderful to be retired and be retired for all these years, because now I don't have to deal with objectionable people. Just great.
Your reward for your hard work. Yes, yes. Yeah, it's, you know, I've been a certified coach for quite a few years now. I took a break from church for a while and started working with boards of directors and coaching ministers. And no matter what the issue was, it was always about personalities, always about relationships, always. And, you know, and in my book, Adventures in Prayer, in one of the chapters on relationships, I talk about how, you know, relationships have been the ground of my education. You know, the greatest challenge to grow spiritually in my life. That's me. Other people, you know, theirs is money, others is jobs, others is what am I going to do with my life? Mine has been relationships. I got to say that, and no regrets.
I
Kathy?
have a question. In my life, I've had just experiences where something had to be done. Like I was all of a sudden I had to take over a company, and I had no idea of how that was going to happen. I had no experience in it, and so my only space was to stay present. And my mantra would be, let the Christ unfold in perfect order.
Beautiful.
And it wasn't that I pinpointed how it was going to take place, because it didn't have a roadmap.
Yeah.
It was totally, well, I couldn't have found the roadmap, let's put it that way. So my experience was really, it's kind of like bearing witness to God in action, you know?
Yeah.
And that was like a space of gratitude each time one thing happened, another thing happened. And gradually, you know, you see this company just, you know, being there in a space of God created this, you know? So I've always had the space of, Kathy, don't be too pointed as to what, how, or what, but that the Christ within you, that is what's meant to be unfolded.
Yes. Yes. And you don't always know what it is,
Right.
but the Christ in you knows. Yeah. That's a great affirmation. Great affirmation. Oftentimes when I've gone into a difficult conversation, I have said, into thy hands I commend my spirit, speak through me. Just like Moses, you know, God challenged Moses to speak to Pharaoh. You know, I'll give you the words, don't worry. Yeah.
And I just want to point out that, you know, you're bringing an aspect of something that I really hadn't considered with what you're explaining today, as far as the creative part coming into that space. So I thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you for your perspective, because it's not either or anymore, right? In terms of spiritual truth. So there's always a circle of perspective where we stand at any given moment. Okay, I'm moving on unless there's another comment. Divine ideas. Let me make sure. I covered what I wanted to on that last one. Okay, got that. So divine ideas. I'll read this one. Divine ideas are mankind's inheritance. They are pregnant with all possibility because ideas are the foundation and cause of all that mankind desires. And that's from Christian Healing. What do you think about that? I guess Cleo's lonesome. Divine ideas. What I love about this is, you know, when I ask myself, what are divine ideas? Well, anything that is Christ-like, right? Christ's character. The most helpful thing to me was to hear that the 12 powers constitute or are divine ideas in the mind of God. The 12 powers. Divine ideas are our inheritance. They are already in us as seeds. Our job is really to develop them and maximize them and express them. So any comments about this one? Well, I have a lot of ideas. I just don't have the money or the talent to express them. So, you know, it gets frustrating because. So you say that you have a lot of ideas. I've been called the idea person. You're an idea person. Okay. Well, I mean, I love ideas. Well, I got them. And I'll let's have an example of one of your ideas. Well, one of my ideas for unity was to have a food truck party in the parking lot, like a happy hour or something. Invite the community and, you know, people sell their, you know, their artistic things and yeah, and get more people and to know what unity is. It's a great idea. I mean, I've already talked to vendors and said, would you be willing? Well, you have, see, you've taken some steps. Oh, yeah. I'm glad you came up with that. Everything's too bright in here today, so I'm sorry. So let's pause for a moment there. That's a great idea. Hang on, darling. Don't lose your thought. Don't lose your thought.
I'm going to because it's for you.
Okay, hang on. So you have this idea which would benefit a lot of people, right? Unity, the community, the vendor who comes with the truck. I was thinking it would be an idea to get more, to get people familiar, you know, with unity and what it is, and bring people other than, you know, retired people, you know, bring the younger generation into, you know. So that's a divine idea. And what I want to say about that is what Sheldon brought up at the outset, and that is it's about guidance. So you were guided to contact vendors, and what might be a next step, Darlene?
I was going to say, they usually say in a successful business, which is basically what that would be, is that you need your idea person, but you also need a person who can start and complete projects. Yes, implement it. And so you've got the idea where a lot of people may not have the idea, but to find somebody who will work with you and do what you feel like you're not able to do at this point.
And she's the person to go to.
Oh, yeah, but not at this time. I've got enough on my plate right now,
but you are an implementer, are you not?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I think the operative word in that whole scenario is desires.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
You could easily substitute the word desires for accomplishments, for many other of man's needs. And when you, as a person, can fulfill those needs through ideas, it's very fulfilling.
Yes. Yes. Were you the idea person, Sheldon, or the implementer?
Yeah.
And then you had to deal with implementers.
I will vouch for that, I'm sure.
In one of our foundational books in Unity, one of our foundational authors is Emily Cady, who wrote, I think it's a trilogy, Foundations in Unity. It is really intense reading because it's one truth after another. But what she says about desire is that desire is from God. Our highest desires are from God. Our highest and most beautiful desires, our good desires, are from God. Because if you take the word desire apart, it is desire, which is from God, from the Father, from the source. And check this out. My experience with desire is sometimes I have to go back in and keep praying and seeking guidance so that my desire gets honed. You know what I mean? So maybe there are some aspects of it I need to keep like your idea, maybe it's a latte truck. That would be an answer to my prayer. Anybody else on this one?
Just a quick thought again.
Yes.
You just said you took the word apart, desire apart. I read the other day about another word that you can take apart, impossible. I am possible. I
Yes.
am possible.
Yes, I like it.
If you don't put some effort and legs into your ideas, they don't get done.
Sure.
And
Right.
I think one has to be in addition to having the idea, you gotta be really a good salesperson to get that idea across to people. It's
Yeah.
It's the essence of business. To sell your ideas.
Mhm.
That's all there is.
That's right. That's right. So along those lines, segueing from that, Sheldon, I remember sitting in a conference, a spiritual conference, church growth and development conference, and a man, I don't know why his name escapes me at the moment, but he was a successful minister, not in Unity, in another denomination, but this was all denominations in that conference. So he said, people come to me, people in the church come to me all the time with ideas that they want me to produce. And he said, I tell people, if it's an idea that is aligned with our mission, then you get 3 or 4 other people, sales people, to believe in that idea with you and create it.
I think it's very true. I think that we have a divine idea. We have least resistance. It seems to flow. This is an idea that's not so divine. So you struggle and struggle and struggle, like swimming upstream. But when it's the right idea, it just happens.
So do you have an example of that?
Oh, a lot of them actually. And yeah.
Well, share with us, won't you?
Well, probably I can go back years. Starting like the Ronald McDonald House. And came from an idea because I had to stay in a boarding house for $5 a night while my child had cancer. And that's all I could afford, because you can't afford $100 a night hotel
Right.
because you're out of town. And that just, and I presented it like at, well, there was an organization called Candlelighters. And I presented it and everybody just came together and it just like, everybody just picked up the page and ran with it and it happened.
Wow.
Mhm.
The Ronald McDonald houses?
Yes.
Oh, Chris,
So I started that in Denver, yeah.
that's amazing.
And the Shamrock Shakes and the whole deal, that was how, that was how.
Oh, that gives me chills. Very, wow,
So
very
that
wonderful.
just happened. I mean, it was an idea and it was out of necessity that I had experienced.
Yes,
That it's like, this needs to be done. Or can't, yeah.
yes, brilliant, brilliant. So that's another way God speaks to us, right? Guidance comes in our difficulties, the solution,
Mhm.
because God is all about solving problems and presenting solutions. Don't you think?
Isn't it said that necessity is the mother of invention?
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. That's, when you think about, when I think about inventions, for example, like these lights or chairs, anything, it all began with an idea, but out of necessity. How can I see in the dark? Find my way in the dark. Yeah, great. Thanks for those examples, gang. Okay, here's the third law. So the first one, tell me what the first law is, just a little review here. The first principle.
There's only one God, one presence, or only one presence, one power in the universe, God the good omnipotent.
So yeah, there's only one presence and one power in the universe, God the good omnipotent. Now, when you think about the situation in Ukraine and Russia, how do you bring that truth to bear on that circumstance? Go.
All of you know I belong to AA, but there's something in AA that really helps me. When I see an animal that's been killed by a car, I have to stop and say, for the grace of God, because I am so tenderhearted that I get crying and everything else over a cat or a dog or anything killed on the street. So the grace of God, by the grace of God, has really helped me maintain some part of my serenity. And it's a release of the mind, the guilt of the mind for something that's hurt and you can't help it. And, you know, we have this serenity prayer that talks about that. And I don't want to take up a lot of time, but I want to say that's one thing that helps me keep my mind on God.
Great.
God's will, not my will. I don't have to get out of the car and carry on like a crazy woman because a dog got killed or a cat got killed, because God is taking care of that.
Great.
And we have a sick animal now that's 19 years old, and she forgot where the papers were to go, you know. And we got a trying situation now, but Laura and I are very, very in tune with God. And I just clean it up. She came this morning, I didn't get to her fast enough, and she urinated right in front of me. And I could have touched her, I was that close, but she's blind and she doesn't hear very well. And we'll get through it.
Yeah.
It's just that it's for the grace of God. And there's a lesson in that, to learn me patience, because I do not have a lot of patience. And when I have to wait on an animal like that, and we have 4 animals, so when I have to do that, then that's something different, you know, it keeps my mind off of things that I shouldn't be doing, you know,
Right.
and there's a lot of them.
Thank
Thank you all, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you, Joe. So the serenity prayer.
Yeah, Serenity Prayer tells me when I don't have to get out of the car and act like a crazy woman and have everybody stopping and saying, what is wrong? What, can't you see this cat skill? You know, I mean, I don't have to act like I don't have to act so stupid. But the grace of God helps me more than anything. Thank you all.
Yeah. So to know the things I can change and the things I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference. And so back to Ukraine then and Russia, which is, you know, a circumstance, a global circumstance that's up in front of all of us right now. So how might you approach that in your thoughts? How might we, including me?
With optimism.
Hmm?
With optimism. I mean, what's going on is a tragedy, but there's a bigger plan, and I don't know the outcome, but I'm optimistic that good will come out of it, that people will in consciousness grow, that people will learn to be more kind and loving, that there's going to be something greater and better that'll be the end result.
Great. I was thinking about that this morning, about the global situation, right? Because I looked at my computer and the head of NATO, there was a comment from the head of NATO about biological warfare. And I was remembering what has helped me so much when things go crazy like that, when it looks like there's so much not working, so much not a divine idea. And it is this truth that when you, individually, for example, when you and I bring into our consciousness something beautiful, wonderful, helpful, that doesn't agree, like I am the rich daughter of an abundant God, and I've got old beliefs in there that go, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. I want more money. I want more money. When those two meet, there's a metaphysical explosion. Because as Jesus said, you cannot put new wine in old wineskins. So as I'm looking this morning at the global situation, or that situation specifically, I thought, you know, it must be that something amazing and wonderful, there's enough of it around the globe of this high consciousness meeting that lower consciousness that's creating this, what we see today. And so to know that the light is always stronger than the dark, James. And the dark cannot, John 1, the dark cannot overcome the light. So to know that helps me keep my mind positive about that situation rather than reactional. Any comments or questions?
Reverend Sharon,
Yes?
I just wanted to say one of the things that's happened is that the Europeans have united for the first time in a long time and are able to stand up almost all together, which is pretty remarkable in itself.
Thank you for that. Pretty remarkable, isn't it? Pretty remarkable.
And I think this consciousness is happening because if this was a number of years ago, we would have turned, or somebody would have turned right around and started bombing them, you know, thinking that violence brings against violence.
Right, thank you. Okay, so let's go to the third law, which is this: thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. It's such an important, it's the creative law. And we can't break, we can't break the law, only break ourselves against it. So what we're thinking about, what we hold on to, starts creating. It creates our reality. So what do you see about that?
Well, we're thinking negative thoughts about anything. It creates, you know, it manifests for you because your thoughts are energy and energy is in the air and there's a lot of negative energy around. So, I think it's so important to change perspective and start thinking, you know, what the good is in it.
What you want to create, right? Yeah. Who else? Yes, Cindy?
Garbage in, garbage out.
That's right. Perfect. Garbage in, garbage out.
And this is a blessing and a curse. I have a family member that when he calls up, the first thing he tells me is how little sleep he got last night. And he constantly says that every time he tells me. I kind of ease him into a little more positive outlook.
Thank you. But that's it, right? You know, we get into conversations that turn negative. Like, what's my latest ailment? And it's not uplifting energy. It takes, but knowing this makes all the difference in the world, knowing that.
This is really, to me, basic unity stuff.
Yeah.
I can't begin to tell you the number of times I've used that quote to stop somebody right in their tracks.
You have.
Because everybody is, or not everybody, but so many times you present an idea and immediately people begin poking at it.
Uh-huh.
And you can stop them in their tracks with that,
Yes.
because this is their idea. And
It's kind of a normal reaction. You know, I listen to, I don't know what you all do. Well, let's talk about it for a minute. What do you do to condition your consciousness? Like, to condition my body, I go to the gym and lift weights. What do you do to condition your mind?
Meditation, without a doubt,
Meditation when?
whenever you need it.
First thing in the morning,
Okay, first thing in the morning, someone said. Okay,
read uplifting material.
read uplifting material. Great.
Practice the presence.
Practice the presence, which is, how do you practice the presence?
The now moment, that where I am.
God is, right?
It is.
What else? Anything else?
Turn off the TV.
Turn off the TV.
Yeah, there you go.
Dope.
And another little thing that helps me is to live one day at a time. And boy, that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
It took me about 30 years to learn that. Because I was so right, but I was so wrong. But I thought I was right. My thoughts was not corrected.
Thank you. Thank you. So anything else as you think about your own spiritual practice? What do you do to keep yourself? Thank you, Linda. What do you do to keep yourself from getting sucked into reactiveness and negativity?
I think journaling works too.
Journaling is good.
How do you do that? Maybe when you things rolling around, you know, so that can, you know, put it down on paper and you can write it. I don't computerize it. I can just write it. There's something to do. But yeah, I do know that. I didn't speak up. Oh, I'm sorry. Journaling, and, you know, it just seems to release the thoughts that are going.
Yeah. What was that Julia Cameron book? that was so popular. There were groups of
Art.
the Artist's Way.
Oh, artist way.
And what, if you were studying that book, what she recommends in the book is to do, I think it's 3 pages, right? In the morning, first thing, you just spill it all out. And it's like, just let it rip. You don't even think about it. Just let whatever is in there come out on the paper. It's like cleaning the cup that you just drank your coffee out of. You know what I mean? It cleanses the inside, which makes us better receivers.
This is the first rule of creative writing, right?
Yeah, how do you know that, Sheldon?
Pardon me?
How do you know that?
Uh,
Are you a
Because I
creative?
took a class in creative writing.
Oh. Great. Do you write poetry?
Pardon me?
Do you write poetry?
No,
You
no,
don't?
I don't even appreciate
You don't what?
it.
You
I
don't?
don't even appreciate poetry. Not that I don't respect it, I just don't understand it. It just doesn't reach me.
Well, why did you take the creative writing class? Were you going to write a book?
No, no, it was on an elder hospital.
Oh, very interesting.
It was neat.
Okay, then.
To get back to this thing a little bit,
Yeah.
I think of that principle as almost a weapon against negativity.
Yes. Yes, it is.
It's a marvelous,
It's
marvelous.
What is this word
Principle.
underneath the other picture? Produce, is it just produce
After.
after,
Thoughts after,
just after their kind?
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Thoughts held and mind produced after their kind. The key word in this for me is held. Because the key word in this is held. Thoughts held in mind. Because we're always getting thoughts, right? I mean, because that's what our energy system is. It's a thought producing energy system. And so, I mean, if you read some, and Cindy just went out, I think she has a PhD in psychology, Doug.
Yes, she analyzes me all the time.
I'm so sorry. Can't get away with anything,
I
right?
don't want you to.
But there's, in psychological terms and in metaphysical terms, there's the collective unconscious. Why? Because every thought that everyone has ever thought is energy. So everyone on the globe today who's thinking is sending out energy, because thoughts are non-local, they're energy, and they don't stay right here. I mean, you think they do, but they, wow, the energy goes out. And so the key around holding or held is we can't always, I don't know about ever, yeah, we can control. That's another framework, but thoughts come up out of nowhere. Have you noticed? Out of the blue, you start thinking something. And so who knows where they came from? Somewhere in the universe, somewhere in this system, maybe. Not responsible for those. What we are responsible for is whatever thoughts we hold on to. So,
I think it's key that it's the thoughts I'm holding on to. I
yes,
can pick up on somebody else's words and go, oh, they're negative or whatever, but it's being mindful of what's going on in my monkey mind.
yes, and we've heard the word awareness in here
Awareness.
a few times.
Yes.
So that is so important, being aware of what's going on in here, because if we're not aware, it takes over. Have you noticed that? One bad thought creates another, just like one good thought can create another. I think of it as spiritual sex.
So explain that one. You said it.
Well, I mean, it's
Sandy, what was your reaction? That was your.
Start running rampant here.
It's well, we all know what it takes to produce a baby, don't we?
Yeah.
So. Well, that was the perfect moment. And so the same thing is true with thoughts. I and my thought become one if I hold on to it. You know what I'm saying? And Mary knew Joseph. You know what I'm saying? If I hold on to a thought, I've just become one with it. And when I become one with a thought, it produces a baby, just like itself. If I have a thought about my son, for example, which I intentionally do often, and think, God, he's so wonderful, he's so successful, he's so creative, he's so hardworking. One of those thoughts produces the next one. You know what I've held on to? My son is so successful. And then the next one that comes up is, yeah, he's such a hard worker. Because I've become one with that thought, I held it in my mind. It produces another one just like it. Pardon? Oh, good. Thank you.
Creating it, holding it and creating more.
Yeah, but okay, I promised Mary Oliver. And here's, I don't know why I'm doing it now, just for a breather, okay, just to. So this is Mary Oliver. Title is When Death Comes, but I think it relates to our creative expression and living fully right now, today. When death comes, like a hungry bear in autumn, when death comes and takes all the bright coins from his purse to buy me and snaps the purse shut, when death comes like the measles pox, when death comes like an iceberg between the shoulder blades, I want to step through the door full of curiosity, wondering what is it going to be like, that cottage of darkness. And therefore, I look upon everything as a brotherhood and a sisterhood. And I look upon time as no more than an idea. And I consider eternity as another possibility. And I think of each life as a flower, as common as a field daisy and as singular. And each name a comfortable music in the mouth, tending as all music does towards silence. And each body a lion of courage and something precious to the earth. When it's all over, I want to say, all my life I was a bride married to amazement. I was a bridegroom taking the world into my arms. When it's over, I don't want to wonder if I have made of my life something particular and real. I don't want to find myself sighing and frightened and full of argument. I don't want to end up simply having visited the world. Any comments? So true, isn't it? Wow, would I love to every day, always, right here, right now, be a bride married to amazement.
Great.
I wrote it down. So there you go.
Isn't it though? A bride married to amazement.
And the last one too, I don't want to end up having simply just visited this world.
Yeah. 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 Will someone read this one for us?
You want me
You
to
might
read
not
it?
be able to read it.
Pardon?
You gotta move the thing up again now.
Oh, move. Oh, I got you. Got you. Okay.
I'll read it. There are goodness, everlasting, and joy beyond expression in perfect union between the mind and this perfect mind.
Also from Christian Healing. There are goodness everlasting and joy beyond expression and a perfect union between your mind and God mind. That's hopeful, isn't it? That's full of hope. And any comments or questions?
There is.
Say that again.
No, that's on me too, but it's goodness and joy.
There is rather than there are.
Yes, I did the same thing, Jim. I read there are goodness everlasting. Go, wait a minute. But then there is there's a compound subject to that sentence. Good everlasting and joy beyond expression are the subject of that verb. I don't know. It's difficult to read because the construction is awkward, I think. But there we go into English grammar, so.
So.
It still means peace and joy to me.
Yes, it means goodness and joy when our mind and God mind are one. When I'm thinking along the lines of divine ideas.
And this can happen from either direction. From us to God or from God to us.
Yes,
So it's
say
not,
more,
it's
say
not,
more.
it's not a,
One-way street.
it's not an action on our part all the time. It's sometime an action on the divine side
Yeah,
towards us.
Yeah.
When we least expect it.
have you got an example, James?
All the time, there's thoughts that come. You know, it's like, years ago, I was teaching a class on intuition. And I had a gentleman in my class who was an executive of a large Minneapolis company. And he came and he said, I had a problem with the board of directors in solving an issue in running this company. And he says it was a long-lasting problem, and we worked on it and worked on it and worked on it, and we were not achieving any desirable results. And he says it was occupying our minds all the time. And he said, all of a sudden, one day, I'm on the elevator going to my office in a 25-story building in Minneapolis. And the guy behind me in the elevator has a newspaper that he's reading. On the back page of the newspaper is the answer to my question,
Wow. Wow,
when he least expected it.
yeah,
And it solved the problem that we had.
yeah. Don't you love it?
I call that grace.
You call that what?
Grace.
Grace.
By the grace of God.
That's God's story. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
I call that synchrodestiny.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, that is, and what's true about that is the issue had been cooking,
Yes.
cooking.
And that's much like what's going on in the world today. There's an issue cooking.
Yes, there is.
And like she said, bringing the European countries together. More and more people are beginning to get more and more worried, and put more positive thoughts into what's happening.
Yes,
There is that tipping point,
yes. Yes,
and it's frightening because you don't know where it's going to tip.
don't know, you don't know.
But are we on a razor's edge, Jim?
Yes.
Razor's edge? Yes, it could be. Yeah.
Let's not see it that way, though.
Pardon?
Let's not see it that way.
No, it's, well, it is,
But that's.
Remember-
I agree with you. though.
You know, you can go either way in your thinking. And you catch yourself all the time. Oftentimes you think the wrong direction and you pay the results for it. Or you think the right direction and you pay the results for it.
so let's go back to razor's edge. Remember how I suggested that 21st century spirituality is both and, not either or. Razor's edge is urgent. But in the urgency, we must let go. In the urgency, there is no room for fear. It's like a woman about to deliver and she's on the delivery table. Huh?
No going back.
No, there's no going back. But the woman isn't saying, oh, dang, this is awful. She is saying, this is so wonderful, I can't wait. Razor's edge, let go. Razor's edge, no fear. An urgency, maybe.
This is
But
why-
the important thing is to think in terms that keep your mind clear and peaceful, whatever terms you use. Because it's the mind of, as Charles Fillmore said, it's the mind of peace that precedes all healing. No healing can happen when the mind is in an uproar.
This is why the law of divine order is so important,
Yes, yes.
because you control your mind. Otherwise, you fall into negativity.
So easy, because we live in a polarized universe. We're no different than, you know, the rest of the universe. If there were no polarity, the planets wouldn't be up there in the sky. You know, they'd be falling, exploding, whatever. But there's perfect balance in the universe.
Sharon?
Yes,
I guess my mind has just been going like this. I know when I lived in Virginia Beach, a lot of times we had groups of people, we just met by the ocean front and we all did our meditation or, you know, our prayers together. And because of everything that's going on in the world, I wonder if we could have even just a few minutes after the service, before people go over to have something good to eat, is just to go out to the labyrinth or just together to put our minds into a positive energy focus. Maybe we help dispel some of the fear that's going on.
that's a divine idea. If you'll write it down, I may remember.
Okay.
I mean, thank you. That would help to write it down. Otherwise, I'll walk out of here and.
Right.
And you know, Arizona Faith Network on the internet is a local, all different faiths, Buddhist and Jewish, Christian, and so forth. And they've set up on Friday morning prayer, like a Zoom meeting, and everybody praying in their own language and their own beliefs, but united in the fact that I think we need more of that. United.
Silent Unity in the beginning was called what, the Society of Silent. And someone that came all day, even though they weren't in the same room. If people aren't at church, to do maybe a labyrinth or a collective prayer consciousness together, maybe a certain time of day, every day, everybody stop and say that prayer for us.
Good one. Good one. Okay. I'm going to do a 12-hour meditation with you right now. Would that be okay? I could go on, but I think we've had enough of that. Enough input for right now. Is that all right?
Yes.
All right.
You don't want to do anything ready, I'm gonna be bold, and I'm usually not bold, but since we.
You're always bold.
You're always bold, Betty. Well, I'm holding myself, and if any of you here would like to be on my subscription list for my blog, just see me afterwards, and I'll just take your email address. I send a blog twice a month, they're free, they're only about 20 page long, and so far I'm getting a lot of people saying that they're being helped by it, but if anybody wants to do that, just see me, I'll give you.
Hey, Laura, you hear me? Laura? Oh, I'm not in the camera. Oh, Laura.
Yes,
you
I
hear
hear
me?
you. Yes,
Okay,
I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Look at the stool that Maggie got for me. Is that the cutest? I'll sit on my stool.
There you go.
Oh, let's turn off the lights. Denise? Oh. Everyone okay? Okay, so get comfortable in your chairs, uncross anything that's crossed. And close your eyes, please. And I'm going to start at the bottom and up. I should probably have prefaced this with saying, you know, the 12 powers are divine ideas, and they are in us as energy centers. Anyone familiar with the chakra system? This is Charles Fillmore, divinely guided expression of our creative energies and how they manifest in specific ways. So eyes closed, we're going to start right at the bottom and move up to the top of the head. So imagine now a cylinder of white light, sparkling, shimmering light coming from the infinite resources of the universe, entering the crown of your head and traveling down to your genital area, the generative center of your body. This is the center of divine light. And so see if you can a sparkling red light light up there. And with each breath, breathe the red light down through your legs, feet, and toes, up through your torso, chest, neck, head, across your shoulders, down into your arms, hands, and fingers. The sparkling red light of divine life, which is creativity itself. It is our creative energy. Take a deep breath and let go of the sparkling red light, and now breathe that white light into the tailbone, into your tailbone. And that's the center of divine release, which is russet in color. And so in your mind's eye, see a sparkling russet ball of light light up there. And breathe that sparkling russet light, feet and toes, up through your torso, your chest, across your shoulders, down into your arms, hands, and fingers, into your neck and head. Sparkling, shimmering light of divine release. It is our no-saying power, our spiritual eraser, that can reprogram our mind along with the faith faculty. And so we let go of that russet light now, take a deep breath and breathe the white light into your abdominal area. That is the center of divine order, which is emerald green. And so right there, see the emerald green light of divine order light up. Divine order is right priorities, synchronicity, clarity, action, sequencing. And so we see this shimmering emerald green light down through your legs, feet, and toes, up through your torso, your chest, across your shoulders, down into your arms, hands, and fingers, your neck and head. Blessing your body with all that divine order is. And take a deep breath and let go of the emerald light. And now breathe that white cylinder of light into your backbone. And there in your backbone, see the light green light, like spring green, like lime green, the shimmering green light light up. And breathe that shimmering light green light through your legs, feet, and toes, up through your torso, your chest, across your shoulders, down into your arms, hands, and fingers, your neck and head, so that you are filled with this green light of divine strength. Strength and power to desire, a divine desire, divine idea. Strength is the power of endurance, power of perseverance. It's our spiritual backbone, our capacity to do the right thing in the face of great challenge. Take a deep breath and let go of the light green light and breathe the white light into your diaphragm, into the diaphragmatic area of your body, which is the center of divine wisdom. And divine wisdom sparkles and shimmers and shines as yellow, like the noonday sun, brilliant. So breathe that yellow light now down through your torso, your legs, feet, and toes, throughout your chest, across your shoulders, down into your arms, hands, and fingers, up your neck and your head. The sparkling, shimmering yellow light of divine wisdom. Divine wisdom takes all knowledge, all understanding, and integrates it all into wisdom, knowing what to do and doing it. Divine wisdom is right understanding, expressing as divine action, right action. And so you have that yellow light filling your body now, filled with divine wisdom, informing every cell and atom, every part of your being. And take a deep breath and let go of the yellow light and breathe the white light into your heart, the center of divine love, and it vibrates pink. And so see a pink light there in your heart light up, and breathe it throughout your body, your chest, your torso, legs, feet, and toes. Cross your shoulders down into your arms, hands, and fingers, your neck and head, filled now with the divine idea of love, the energy of love, sparkling and shimmering. Love is unconditional, positive acceptance and regard. Divine love is unconditional love. It is the creative energy of life. And so filled now with the divine light of love, pink, shimmering, sparkling love. Let go of that now, and then with your next deep breath, breathe the white light into your throat. And that is the center of divine power, which is purple. And so breathe the purple light up into your head, down across your shoulders, down into your arms, hands, and fingers, your neck, chest, torso, legs, feet, and toes, the shimmering, sparkling light, purple light of divine power. And divine power is the energy that transforms one plane of existence to another. And so divine power is the igniting power for all other powers. Divine power turns ideas into words, into writing, into action. Always forward moving. So let go now that shimmering purple light and breathe the white light into the nape of your neck, and that's the center of divine zeal, which is orange. And so breathe the orange light up into your head, throughout your neck, across your shoulders, down into your arms, hands, and fingers, your chest, torso, legs, feet, and toes, the sparkling, shimmering orange light of divine zeal, which is our passion, which is our fervor, which is what moves us forward along with power. Take a deep breath and let go of the orange light and breathe the white light now into your head and to your pituitary gland. And this is the center of divine faith, which is right in the middle of your head. Divine faith is royal blue. And so see this royal sparkling blue light fill your head, your neck. Breathe it through your body, across your shoulders, down into your arms, hands, fingers, your chest, torso, legs, feet, and toes. The shimmering royal blue light of divine faith. Divine faith, the idea of right direction. Always toward greater good, always toward the good, always toward an expansion of life. Take a deep breath, letting go of the royal blue light, and breathe the white light into the area of your pineal gland. And that's right between your eyes and the middle of your head, right between your physical eyes. And that's light blue, the color of divine imagination. And so see that shimmering, sparkling, light blue light of divine imagination expand to fill your head, your neck. Breathe it through your body, across your shoulders, down into your arms, hands, fingers, your chest, torso, legs, feet, and toes. The shimmering, sparkling light of divine imagination, light blue light. And let go of that light now and breathe the white light into the forehead area. And there in the middle of your head, behind your forehead, see the light of divine understanding, which is golden, light up. And so see this shimmering, sparkling, golden light of divine understanding through your head, your neck. Breathe it across your shoulders, down into your arms, hands, fingers, through your chest, torso, legs, feet, and toes, so that you are filled with the golden light of divine understanding. Divine understanding knows to look through the circumstances to a spiritual truth. Any circumstance. There is a truth in the midst of it that will manifest as we hold to it. And so now let that golden light of divine understanding go and breathe the shimmering light into your forehead again. And right next to the power of divine understanding is the silver light of divine will. And so right there, like a diamond, see divine will light up. The sparkling, shimmering silver light to light your head, your neck. Breathe the shimmering, sparkling silver light of divine will across your shoulders, down into your arms, hands, and fingers, your chest, torso, legs, feet, and toes, so that you are filled with the shimmering light of divine will that is always for an increase of good. And so now in the silence, if you can, in your imagination, see your whole body lit up with those 12 powers. Divine life, divine release, divine order, divine strength, divine wisdom, divine love, divine power, divine heal, divine faith and imagination, divine understanding and love. And just breathe and let the energy settle. These divine ideas know what to do when they do them. They do what they are. And so we give thanks, God, that your presence and power expressing in these ways is blessing us now, throughout this day, and in the days ahead. Amen. And amen. And take a deep breath, and when you're ready, open your eyes. How are you?
Okay.
Should I bring out the sleeping bag?
Peaceful.
Peaceful, peaceful. Good. Well, what I like is these ideas know what to do. You don't have to tell them what to do. Thank you, Denise. Okay. Okay. Any closing comments? Okay, then. Happy trails to you till we meet again. Keep smiling on the land. Okay, have a great rest of your day, Okay, and we do not,
And I don't want anybody else to run out. Not that I'm doing that.
I don't think she can. Oh, here.